going on? What's going on? What's up, fam? Today, we're talking about, you know, today we're talking about what does the Akashic Records, the Akashic Library, say about masculinity? What is masculinity from source? That's what we want to know, because we have all these guys online giving you their interpretation of it, right? And a lot of these guys online, they get a lot of backlash, they get a lot of hate. Some of what they say is good stuff. Some of the other stuff, is not so good, I would say. So that's what's really inspired this video today, because what what is the true nature of genuine masculinity? What is the masculine presence? What's the truth of the masculine presence? Knock off all the bullshit. Knock off the knockoffs. This is my baby right here, my plant. For those who don't know, Winston, that's his name. He's a money tree. I got him out of Chinatown years ago, and he's been through it with me. He's been attacked by cats before, and lost a lot of leaves, and I had to bring him back to life and stuff. But I figured, hey, he provides some good shade and stuff, and I thought he would be cool and good for the video. So, what does the Akashic Records say about masculinity, right? The shortest answer to this is life is sacred. We could just say that and end the video. That'd be the shortest way of saying, saying that, right? So let's get into it. Real masculinity is celibacy, being reserved. This is how you have strong children, compounding life in the body. And that statement, I want to say that statement is profound. I don't know why, it just comes to me like that. Maybe that came to other people as well before I said it. I'll say it again. Real masculinity is celibacy, being reserved. This is how you have strong children, compounding life in the body. And I also think that is very hard to argue with. I know I get a lot of backlash, I get a lot of hate online, I get a lot of, haters, people reporting my shit, sending me all kinds of crazy shit through my email and my comments. But how can you argue with that? This is just 1 + 2. This is 1 + 1 = 2, right? Real masculinity is celibacy, being reserved. This is how you have strong children, compounding life in the body. We know this, like for people who, are having problems or having trouble getting their girl knocked up, what do they say? You gotta compound it. You gotta, practice retention, right? So that's just a fact. Like we could just, once again, we could just end the video right here. That goes right back, hand in hand to the shortest answer to this is life is sacred, right? So once again, what does the Akashic Records say about masculinity. The Akashic Library on masculinity. Okay? Prana, semen, life, Christ oil. As men, we are the guardians, the executors of this force. I'll say that again. Prana, semen, life, Christ oil. Men are the guardians, the executors of this force. Whoever your creator is, whoever the creator is, the omni creator, whoever, whichever God or name your God is. This is a fact, right? It doesn't matter the name of your God, right? One thing's for sure, we all share, no matter your ethnicity, your gender, we share the same, biological possibilities, right? Even women, I'm pointing out to the fact that, it's obviously different with men. I'm pointing to the fact that, this is about masculinity, this is about, that topic and men, right? But this is, still very true for women. It's just, a little bit different, in terms of, women, same thing. Celibacy, staying reserved, accumulation of life in the body, having good disciplines, good, healthy eating habits, and accumulating and compounding that life in the body. It's going to do the same thing. You're going to accumulate ojas, you're going to accumulate life in the body. And that's where all, hate and jealousy comes from as well, because the people who are, the anti of that, right, and have removed, as much life out of their body as possible, are those the vagabond, as I call them. That's where, jealousy, envy, and all these different things happen and come into play, right? So I want to say that again, just because it's very profound, and it's it's just very simple. But once again, what does the Akashic Record say about masculinity? Akashic Library on masculinity. Prana, semen, life, Christ oil. Men are the guardians, the executors of this force. That brings me into another topic, right? Which is, I've heard both of these statements about humanity, and those statements are: humanity is a Luciferian race, along with humanity is a high priestess race. And I think both are true. Right? Because we have the possibility. You have your Christ consciousness, then you have your anti-Christ consciousness, because of the possibilities and the disciplines and the habitual nature that takes you to these possibilities. Right? That brings me into another topic, right? Which is, I remember watching a video on Ronnie Coleman, and his wife was speaking on camera, and she was holding one of their babies, delightfully saying, "He chose us." And I remember that. I remember that was a few years. It's a while ago when I saw that, but I remember that. They said, once again, Ronnie. It was a video of Ronnie and his wife was on camera, and she had said she was holding one of their kids, one of their babies, and she was delightfully saying, he chose us, right? And I think that's something really special. I think that's something really special, and I think that goes into this point of that I'm trying to make in this video, right? It's something special. It's something sacred, right? As a man, you know, um, and I know, you know, Ronnie wasn't some practitioner of semen retention, some super you know retention mode dude. I'm sure he probably practiced it at one point or another. You know what I mean? But you know, once again, it brings me back to life is sacred, right? And that life in the body that you're accumulating and that the body is producing is sacred, right? So that brings me into another note on Coleman. So when you look up the best natural bodybuilder of all time, his name pops up on Google, Ronnie Coleman, and I had did just that. I looked up, who's the best natural bodybuilder of all time, and Ronnie Coleman pops up, right? And there's a lot of backlash on that statement because we know Ronnie was geared up, he was enhanced, right? But what most people don't know is that he was natural all the way up towards his 30s with an incredible physique, right? And that's true. Ronnie says in an interview that he took the body to its limits naturally. Okay, now if you look at, for the people that are into like bodybuilding, all that stuff, they know this. The people who've done their research, they know this, right? Like, there was an interview. Once again, back in the day, and Ronnie says that he took his body to the limits naturally. And when you look at those photos of Ronnie, natural and enhanced, there's a clear difference. But before he's enhanced, he still had incredible physique, genetics, all these different things, right? Well beyond what most people can even comprehend or fathom to strive to get to. So during his natural time frame, he wasn't practicing retention and celibacy, right? Now we could say, oh, maybe he did for a year, maybe he did for a few weeks, maybe he did for a few months, but what I mean is, being disciplined at the highest level. So the evolutionary process, the natural evolutionary process can roll and roll out, and the body can evolve. So in conclusion, he didn't reach the echelon of the natural evolutionary process, right? He may have, we could sit here and argue, he did, he came very close to it, things like that, right? But see, the thing is, if you've checked out some of my other videos, I state in one of the videos how me in particular, there is no limits on my potential, right? And when you go this route of activating those genes in your body, you could say your Neanderthal genes, I don't know, but there's an actual term, there's an actual gene you activate when you know, practice the semen retention and the celibacy for a long period of time, right? It's the this is the way. This is one of the methods that you can prolong your life. There's other methods as well, and I recently, one of my brothers sent me a video that's on YouTube. It's called "The Bloodlines of Monsters," and it's really interesting. It's really interesting. You guys should check it out. Look it up on YouTube, and I don't exactly remember who it's by, but it should pop up if you search it in. The title is, you know, "The Bloodline of Monsters," and it goes into the other methods that, you know, these elite and, you know, people are using to prolong their life, and one in which is like the guy you see online who's you know, getting blood transfusions from his kids. He says, like, you know, he got like a liter of blood or so from his son. Then he gave his dad a liter of his blood, and you know, in that video they talk about how, you know, that's you know, the vampire method of prolonging life, right? And interesting stuff, right? I don't, you know, I don't think that's the highest frequency version of prolonging your life. But what's interesting about this is, you know, all these different tales that we hear about, that's in our movies, that's in the comic books, and, you know, our media, all come from us, right? It all comes from us, right? One way or another, right? Dan, Mr. Pena says, where there's smoke, there's fire. And there's truth to every lie, right? So keep that in mind, right? Before you want to point the finger at me, call me crazy, this and that, you know, don't get me confused with any facts. You know, what I'm doing is observing, trying to connect dots, right? And, you know, seeing what type of sense we can make of this shit, right? So, really interesting stuff. And another message I have for you is, God rewards the work. It doesn't matter the race, the genetics. It's who works the hardest and who applies the wisest discipline. Okay? Let me say that again. God rewards the work. It doesn't matter the race, the genetics, where you're from, your disposition. It's who works the hardest and who applies the wisest disciplines. When I had my private time with Mr. Pena, he told me that a short-term solution will never solve a long-term problem, and all the little things count. When stacked together, it makes a difference. It makes a quantum difference, and that's very true, and those are huge facts. Let's not get confused with them, right? So it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you're from, you'd be a Rothschild, you could have you know, unlimited resources. And see, this is the thing, right? You have people, you know, that have unlimited resources. So, you know, that's where the exploitation of humanity comes into play, right? Now, that brings me back into that video I was telling you about, the bloodline the bloodlines of monsters, and the guy talks about it. Some kid who is born into like the cult and the elite families and things like that, and he goes into that type of stuff. You know, he goes into that type of stuff where he's being raised by people who are staying up. They're like taking all kinds of different medications or human products, in other words, to keep them up for 3 days straight or to enhance them. The guy even says that um, he's not allowed to give blood because of this type of stuff, the type of drugs or shit he's taken, so it's but at the same damn time, right, a short-term solution for a long-term problem will never work. It'll never solve your problem. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how many resources you have, right? And he talks about these different methods in that video. Again, the bloodlines of monsters. He talks about the methods of prolonging life. He says there's like a beast method and there's a vampire method, and it goes in to talk about how there's feral people and people who straight up have like an animal. They have some sort of like they decide to have like an animal lifespan or something. He says it better than how I'm stating that, but after listening to that, I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, you have your beast method, which he didn't go into detail of exactly what the beast method is to prolong life, besides the fact that it hurts and there's some sort of like transformation. I don't know, it sounds crazy as shit, but almost like on like sound like from what he was saying like some werewolf shit. And then there's your vampire method, right, where motherfuckers are just drinking blood or using human exploitation drugs of some sort or another, right? And then there's what I'm telling you, right, which is the God method, we'll call it, right? The God method, right? And that's what is in the Akashic Library and the way God wants us to be. And that is also at the tallest pinnacle of wisdom, right? Brings us back into a short-term solution will never solve a long-term problem, right? Every time you spill your Christ oil, your life, your prana, and you're not creating life, you are spilling bone marrow, vitamins, minerals, brain cells. Okay? In the Jewish community, they tell you that like a man has, can only shoot shoot their gun, metaphorically speaking, like 4,000 or 5,000 times, something like that, right? So, and then and this is all in the name, right, of a sensation. This is all in a name for a sensation, the exploitation of humanity, all in the name of a sensation. And I think it's interesting too that, you know, there's your beast method, your vampire method, and then your God method, right? Which is 3, right? That's 3, you know, pyramid, shape of a pyramid. I don't know. But, you know, they always, you know, 3, I know 3 is a good number. It's, you know, your 3, 6, 9 shit. So, let's see what else I have. Okay, so, and yeah, I just, you know, God rewards the work. It doesn't matter the race, the genetics. It's who works the hardest and who applies the wisest discipline. I saw a video of, I think it was these past Olympics. You know, it was a race on the track, and a white girl beat all the black girls, right? And everyone's like, whoa, you know, that doesn't happen, this and that, you know. And what that reminded me of when I was younger. I used to do track, right? And I went to the Haddonfield Invitationals. Now, this was when I was in middle school. I did track in high school as well, but this was when I was in middle school track. And there was my gym teacher, right, at the time. Cool dude. A lot of people know him too. I always liked him. His daughter, okay, during the this was the Haddonfield Invitationals, okay. His daughter was in 6th grade, okay, and beat the Haddonfield mile record in 6th grade. The high school's Haddonfield High School's mile record in 6th grade. There's some bad motherfuckers. The Guest family, they some bad motherfuckers. I'm saying it. I know I'm not the only one saying it, but they some bad motherfuckers for that one, right? That shit was impressive. I take my hat off to that whole family, you know. And that reminds me of the Williams sisters, that type of shit, right? That reminds me of Mr. Williams, right? Who Dan talks about. And you know, just fucking high performance, powerful fucking shit. You know, I love it. And once again, you know, I was watching a video of the track. You know, they were racing. The white girl beat all the black girls during like the most recent Olympics and stuff. Everyone online and in the comments are like, "Yo, dude, what's going on? That this this doesn't happen." Blah blah blah. And that brings me right back to God rewards the work. It doesn't matter the race, the genetics. It's who works the hardest and who applies the wisest disciplines. Who's just like Andy Frisella said, at the end of the day, 1 + 1 = motherfucking 2. It's that fucking simple. And with all that being said, I hope that inspires. I hope that inspires all the races. I hope that inspires everybody to get the fuck up off their ass and put the work in. And I hope it gives you motivation. I hope you realize that no one has a fucking advantage over you. Okay. The person who has an advantage over you is a person who's compounding the wisest, tallest disciplines. It's that simple. For a 6th grader to be the high school record, okay, mile record for a sixth grader, okay, for a sixth grade female to be the Haddonfield High School's mile record, okay, is, that's saying it right there. Saying it right there, okay? That's saying it right there. With all that being said, thank you for tuning in, and make sure to, follow me, subscribe, like the video, watch some of more of my videos, please. And I appreciate, I'm appreciative of all my, day ones and my riders, people who, really support me, and things like that. And if you want to get in contact with me, go to the website, right? quantumilluminati.ai. Go to contact. Send me an email. Okay. Don't get into the comments talking all kinds of shit, right? And then, expecting me to go tit for tat, for you, with you guys in the comments, because I'm not going to do that. If you want to talk to me and it's something of value, you're providing value of some sort, you're, maybe an idea or whatever, or a collaboration of some sort, hit me up through the email, and I'll be more than willing to talk to you guys. Go watch.